Hey everybody, Mazzius616 here with another video for you today, and today is part 2 of our Magic Monday, checking out how to play the game. Before we get started today, if I could just ask you to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with everybody you see. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by July 31st of 2022, so let's see if we can make that happen. As soon as we do get to 100 subscribers, I will be giving away a booster bundle set of the latest one, so that the latest set, the 10 packs with spin down counter and all that stuff, that's what we will be getting. All right, now with all the plugging out of the way, we're going to go ahead and hit back to what this part is, and this part is creature cards. So I got the creature cards out of my Silverquill Statement Commander deck. I decided to pick a kind of a beginning deck, one that's easily accessible to kind of go over some of the different parts of creatures. This is basics. This will not be all inclusive of creatures, but it'll get you started. So first we're going to go ahead and look at, we'll look at Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. All right, the basic parts of a creature card. First, you've got the name up here. So Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. It can also be something a little less robust, like Combat Calligrapher. She happens to be a legendary creature, which we'll get to here in a little bit, but that's why her name's there. You have the name, you have the mana cost, which is this 2 in a circle with a white and a black mana. You have the overarching creature type, so it's a legendary creature plus a vampire and a wizard. And then you've got the text and the creature comments down here. All right, so first things first, we'll go over the name. Generally, most creature names you'll run into will be something like Combat Calligrapher. Generic name, doesn't really name anybody specific, but it's the name of the actual creature. Now you can only have 4, count it 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, copies of any specific creature card. In general, certain ones have a lower number that you can have if they're on the limit or ban list, but a good rule of thumb is no more than 4 copies of any individually named card. Now mountains, plains, lands like that, those are fine, you can have as many of those, but in any named cards, you can have no more than 4 copies of any one card. Next part we will see is this mana count right here. So that is how much mana it will cost to summon this creature to the field. As we learned in the last episode, each land gives you 1 mana. So you will need at least 1 plains mana from the plains value there, the little plains symbol, and 3 of any other kind of mana, colorless mana, swamp mana. It can be 3 more plains mana, it can be any type of mana, but you must have at least 1 plains. Here, as you can see, you must have at least 1 swamp, 1 plains, and 2 of any other kind of mana. Now, that does not mean those are the only types of mana costs. You have to have 5 of any mana, plus 1 plains and 1 swamp. You will see in certain card texts moving down, as we go through the sorceries, the instants, things like that, what a converted mana cost is. And what a converted mana cost is you have that number, that 2 right there, plus however many symbols are after it. So in this case, it's 2 plus 1 plains, 1 swamp, which is 4 total. The converted mana cost of Tesla, Envoy of Ghosts, is 7. And we'll go through and I'll kind of point out another one that's also 7, Deathbringer Reagent, 5, plus both swamps that you have to summon it. Thusly, that is 7 as well. All right, so now we've kind of got mana costs under control, and all these are is you tap the land, you get the mana, you use it to summon it. The next part of the creature card that we're going to go over is, so you have 2 different types of creatures. You have a base creature, which is where it just says creature dragon. You can have as many of these on the battlefield at one time as you would. Then you have legendary creatures. For instance, this one is a legendary creature, Vampire Wizard. Because it's a named card, it's legendary. Generally, this has to do with some of the lore of Magic the Gathering. It has a background of Magic the Gathering, so on and so forth. These legendary creatures, you can only have 1 of on the field at a time. You can have 4 Deathbringer Regent. You can only have 1 Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. Next, you have a creature type, Vampire Wizard. You have a whole myriad of creature types that you can have. You can have Vampire Wizards, you can have dragons, you can have human clerics, you can have Arcanons, you can have Pegasuses, you can have horses, you can have unicorns. Any combination of, you can have a unicorn wizard. I've seen some strange things in Magic the Gathering. Those are different types of creature types there are. You can have individual vampires, you can have vampire wizards. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a vampire dragon, to tell you the truth. I don't know all the cards of Magic, and I'm not going to say there's no way there's not a vampire dragon, because knowing my luck, there'd be at least 1. So that's where you get the kind of creature type and at. Next thing we'll go through is all creatures, whether it's in the creature itself, whether there's just flavor text, all of them have some sort of text in this box down here. And a few things we're going to go over right now are different abilities. What I'm working on right now is here we have our different ability. First, you have flying. Flying simply means that unless the creature has flying or reach, that it cannot be blocked. So say, for instance, that I had Felisa Finger Silverquill, and she was attacking into you, and you had Nihilus Disciple Enforcer. Since Nils does not have flying, he cannot block the Fanga Silverquill. Super easy. Most of the base ones, flying, indestructible, double strike, things like that, you won't have any parenthetical explanation for it afterwards. And what parenthetical means is, we'll get into that on the second ability on Felisa. So these are older ones. These have ones that have been around since alpha, beta kind of time frame, or were easily explained in rulebook. All right, for the next one, we have Mentor. Whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. So you've got your power and your toughness down here. Power is the first number to 3, toughness is 2. Power is 4, toughness is 4. Power is 2, toughness is 2. Wow, these are really gonna make it, there we go. Power is 4, toughness is 8. And you've got power is 3, toughness is 3. Power is the first number, toughness is the second number. Any creature that has less than 3 power, you can put a +1/+1 counter on it with this one whenever it attacks. And then if they have added abilities, they'll be explained out here. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. It tends to explain the meaning a lot better. They couldn't just put Flourish 3 or something like that. So we're going to go to the next one. This has Vigilance, which Vigilance means that whenever it attacks, it does not tap. And then Protection from creatures means that creatures cannot destroy it. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature. Create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. As long as this is on the field, you can destroy your opponent's creatures. All you have to do is let them do damage to me, and they only get to do it once. All right, Bold Plagiarist. Flash means that you can play this at any time. You could play an instant, which means you could cast this creature from your hand at any time. Whenever an opponent puts 1 or more counters on a creature they control, they put the same number and kind of counters on Bold Plagiarist. All right, so this one has a lot of the staples that have been apparent from Magic from just about day one. So flying, we've already gone over, means that it can only be blocked by creatures that's flying or reach. Double strike, which means that it gets to attack twice. Even if your opponent blocks it, then what will happen is it will deal damage to the creature one time, and then on the second turn, they will deal damage at the same time. But it gets to hit them twice. Vigilance means it does not tap after it attacks. Trample, if 4 is higher than their toughness of 3, Trample would cause it to deal 3 damage. And then Indestructible means that it cannot be destroyed by either combat damage, or it cannot be destroyed by spells that say destroy. I know it's a bit specific. So if it says exile target creature, then you can exile it. But if it says destroy target creature, it will not affect this particular creature. And then last, special subset of abilities of creatures. And I do apologize for kind of the briefness that we have gone over these with. If this series starts to take off, then I'll definitely delve into more of the different types. But I wanted to specifically hit Fane the Broker, because he's got 2 types of abilities that I have not discussed yet. One, he has a tap ability, where here you see the very top, that symbol, that little U-turn arrow that's kind of on its side, that means tap, which means to turn the creature sideways, means that you cannot attack with it if you decide to use this ability. It also says sacrifice a creature. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. That is any creature. It could be your opponent's creatures, it could be your creatures, it could be this creature. Then you have tap, remove a counter from a creature you control, create a treasure token. Tap, sacrifice an artifact, create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. And then it has a, what I call a mana ability. So for 3 of any color mana and 1 swamp mana, you can untap Fane, which means you could sacrifice a creature, you could remove a counter, you could sacrifice an artifact, and repeat. These are not limited to once per turn, just however many times you can tap him in one turn, which is generally just once. But if you have something like his last ability where you can untap him then you can use the abilities again. For in the greater, wider aspect of looking at it, you want to have your deck consist of 30% of the overall deck count be creatures. These are the main things you'll be doing damage with. I know that some other deck types like control or burn decks, you'll want to use a little less creatures. But for a good starting point, you want about 30% of your deck to contain creatures. I mean, this is out of a 100 card deck, but these are all of the creatures out of that 100 card deck. And I'd probably guesstimate to say probably about 20 here, which you also have to think that this deck's going to have a lot more lands than normal. So it's probably, I'd almost say right at 25%. All of these are roughly even piles, if the creature one may be just a tad taller than these three. So between 25 and 30% of your overall deck will be creatures. Now, one kind of creature type that I didn't quite go over is this one right here, which is a legendary planeswalker. It's not really a creature, and it's not really like any of the other spells or abilities that you have access to. So that will have its own episode devoted to it. But everybody, I know this seems like a bit of a drag on episode. Let me know what you guys thought. If you are an experienced Magic player and you happen to be watching the video, please let me know what you think. Once again, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, share with your friends. This coming up Thursday, we will be opening up some packs on the channel again. And then, other than that, I hope you guys have a great one. Bye.